Yeah. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to tonight's meeting of the Community and Cultural Committee meeting. I declare the meeting open at 6:00 p.m. I would like to acknowledge the beautiful people of the Eora Nation, who are the traditional custodians of all lands, waters, and sky in the Georges River area. I pay my respect to elders past and present, and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Island people who live, work, and meet on these lands. I've been told there are no apologies for tonight's committee meeting, and there are no requests to attend via audio visual link as well. Thank you. The staff and public are reminded that this meeting is being recorded for minute-taking purposes and is also being broadcast live to the public on Council's website in accordance with Section 5 of Council's Code of Meeting Practice. The recording will be made available on Council's website. The order of business is as shown in the agenda, which have been made available. Staff and public are reminded that this meeting is open. Doors to the meeting rooms are to be left open unless the meeting moves into a closed, that means confidential session, according to Section 14 of the Code of Meeting Practice. Only if the meeting moves into a closed, confidential session will the public broadcasting of the meeting be suspended. Council's Code of Meeting Practice prohibits the electronic recording of meetings without the express permission of Council. Mobile phones must be turned to silent during the meeting. Does any councillors have any interest to declare for tonight's meeting? No. And I've been told there are no speakers registered for tonight's meeting. So we go into confirmation of minutes of previous meetings. COM 016-24, confirmation of the minutes of the Community and Cultural Committee meeting held on 13th of May 2024. Moved by Councillor Lansbury, second by Councillor Nick Smedley. Thank you. Can I call for a vote from all in favour? Say aye. Against say no, so I declare carried. So we move into COM 017-24, draft local approvals policy, use of public land for public exhibition. Can I call for a move first?
Move that, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Moved by Luke Njasvi and seconded by Councillor Sam Strakopoulos. So can our Director for Community and Culture give us an overview of the report? Thank you.
Through you, Madam Chair, this report seeks endorsement for the draft local approvals policy to be placed on public exhibition for a period of no less than 28 days. Councillors, you'll remember the briefing we did last month outlining the changes to the policy. The policy establishes a framework to define reasonable community use of public land as outlined in Section 68 of the Local Government Act. It's undergone extensive internal consultation to clearly define the roles around permits and allocations. It provides clear, transparent and consistent criteria for processes and approvals, and it ensures Council's approval criteria is readily accessible and understandable to the community. So in order to streamline these processes, it supports the community with clarification and consolidation of permit types and what is and not permissible. We've also got user guides for the community as well. So we did have our event user guide that we established late last year, and we now have, as a result of this policy, or we're proposing to have a business use of footways user guide as well as a food trucks user guide.
Thank you. Thank you, Christy. So is any councillors have any questions and comments on that? If not, I call for, oh, sorry, Councillor Lansbury.
Thanks, Madam Chair. It's not so much a question, it's more of a comment. I just wanted to say the policy is really comprehensive and quite dense. And when I was going through it, I was like, oh, it's really a lot to navigate. But the guides are excellent because it's really snapshots of what people need to do and steps that go through. So I think that is really well done. It's almost like with government documents and having regulations that monitor them. I guess that's what this policy document is, but I think the guides would be the ones that most people accessing the applications or wanting to seek to submit an application would be overwhelmed by the policy doc, but would be able to navigate their way through the guides, which I think were really well constructed. So I just wanted to pass that on.
Thank you. Through you, Madam Chair, it is, yes, the policy itself is still quite robust, but it has to be in order for compliance to regulate certain aspects of the Act, which is why those user guides are preferable for the community.
Oh, thank you. So if no more comments, can I call for votes? All in favour say aye. Against say no. So I declare carried. So next one, COM 018-24, review of the Jordan River Council Sports Advisory Committee. So can I first have a mover? Moved by Councillor Natalie Moore, to seconded by Councillor Lansbury. Thank you. Can I have our Director, Community and Culture, give us an overview of the report, please? Thank you.
Through you, Madam Chair, this report is a outcome of the 1-year trial of the Sports Advisory Committee. Council officers carried out a review by surveying different members of the community as well as the committee and council staff to determine the recommendations within this report. So council officers are proposing the establishment of a permanent sports advisory committee, and within the report outlining some improvements and recommendations around the terms of reference and also some operational improvements as well. So if this committee is made a formal committee of council, we're recommending that councillors are elected in line with the new council elections in October.
Thank you. I remember we've been given the briefings very recently. I think our memory are still very fresh, right? Is any councillors have any comments on it? Thank you, Councillor Lansbury.
Yeah, thanks, Madam Chair. Just it's a question in relation to, I think it was either within the terms of reference or the body of the report about members of the committee could appoint a proxy. I'm just wondering that the merits of that versus actually having alternate delegates nominated by council. The reason I say that is a very limited number of councillors that are able to join that committee. It's not like the rest of, the advisory, it's an advisory committee, obviously, as opposed to the standing committees. And last year we saw quite some robust discussion around who should be appointed to that. And my fear is that could lead to some political outcomes that we don't want necessarily to infect the new committee. Would it be better if we, and I'm open to suggestion on this, my view is alternates might be a better option than a proxy nominated by the council laws that are on it, because they could just exclude people that are interested. And yes, I have an interest in that because I was excluded. I'd expressed an interest and had spent quite a bit of time working with Councillor Borg and the council officers discussing how this committee should go. And I think it may well potentially exclude people who want to be a part of it if they're there for a full term rather than an annual sort of election. So your views on that?
Through you, Madam Chair, take your point and we'll be guided by what council decides. It could be an alternate, it could be a proxy. I think the purpose behind the proxy was that different councillors have interest in various sports, and depending on what might be on each agenda, if you couldn't make it, providing a proxy for someone who may have interest in that over someone that was the alternate. Another thing was that sometimes with political parties, if there's a branch meeting and it's on that night, then someone might not be able to, it might wipe out, numerous councillors, and then your alternate is also not there, whereas a proxy you could nominate, but it could provide more flexibility essentially. But happy to be guided by what council decides on that.
Thanks. I mean, that does make sense. Yeah, I'll think about it then. Thank you.
Just one more question. Did you say that people that are nominated on that advisory committee are then for the term of council, not re-elected per annum as per the traffic advisory committee, for example?
That was the recommendation, but it's up to councillors.
Thank you. So any more questions and comments? Thank you, Councillor Moore.
I'd just like to say what a great, what a great thing it was to have all the different sports come together and discuss everything that, excuse me, all their concerns throughout the year in that one group. So, thanks.
Thank you for the feedback. And yes, the survey was overwhelmingly positive with the overall committee, and all respondents did want to see the continuation of it.
Can I just make one more comment? Sorry. Yeah, I completely concur with Councillor Moore's comments just then. And I also just wanted to say we attended, I think, all of the meetings anyway in the gallery. And I do know that a formal meeting setting can be quite intimidating for people who are not used to that sort of structure. They might be okay in their clubhouse with their committee, but it can be quite an intimidating experience if you're not used to it. And I did really like a couple of the recommendations of perhaps opening up the meeting for more informal chit chat beforehand, and perhaps having an agenda item. I think that was one of the suggestions I made, was perhaps a general business thing that people might just want to raise on the night, that they discuss it with some of the other sporting reps, and they might have input from their particular part of the world that might be useful for, football or basketball or whatever. So I think still needs to have the formal structure, but providing a capacity for people to interact a little bit more rather than just in that formal moving and listening to reports. I think that is a good enhancement for that committee too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. If no more comments and questions, can I call for votes? All in favour say aye. Against say no. So I declare carried. COM 019-24 event grant to support Three Bridges and NAIDOC 2024 events. Can I have a mover first?
Yeah.
Thank you, Councillor Lansbury.
Yeah, Councillor Lansbury.
Thank you. Seconded by Councillor Kundratski. Can I have our acting manager for community and early learning services to give us an overview of the report? Thank you. Thank you, Alexis.
This is first.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, councillors. This report is a recommendation for council to approve an event grant of $8,455 to support Three Bridges NAIDOC 2024 event under council's event grants program. The event is a community-led initiative celebrating Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander community people during NAIDOC week in 2024, which is in early July. A combination of financial and in-kind support is proposed, totaling $8,455, and that will take into account event infrastructure, waste management, entertainment, site fees, power and amenities. As NAIDOC is a date of celebration for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people, it's considered more appropriate that these events are run by Aboriginal-led teams and staff. And in this case, Will Gordon of Three Bridges is an Aboriginal man who would be running the event. That's considered more appropriate than for council to run our own event. So this is a way we can support the event, but have it be Aboriginal-led. Any questions?
Thank you.
Just one question, if I may. The amount that has been recommended, was that what was requested, or was it a negotiated amount that you landed on, or how did we get to that point?
Through you, Madam Chair. That amount is what is remaining in our NAIDOC budget that was granted at the beginning of this financial year. So some of the amount was used for NAIDOC 2023, and this is what's remaining. So we'll be using up every last cent if we grant this.
Thank you. Any more questions? No? So I call for a vote. All in favor say aye. Okay, saying no, so I declare carried. I think that's the last item on the agenda. There are no other business. So I declare this meeting closed at 6:16 p.m. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.